we also learned that in Tai Chi, we have to be safe, and we have to save our joints, especially our knee joints. So there are some rules to help us with that. We learned that we can create the capital letter T. First, put your right foot on a cross section of a tile of a floor. Okay, that's the cap of the capital letter T. The cap. Now the stem. The stem is the left foot, and it sits like this. This is our capital T. This is called a T stance in Tai Chi. We have created the cap, which is, or the hat, which is the grounded foot. It is obeying gravity. It is rooted down. It's a substantial weighted foot. The left foot is the stem. It can hold, it can be weightless. So momentarily you can lift up and you're grounded down, so you're pretty safe. It's the only foot that can move. What can it do? From a T stance, it can come out and to the side. Show me with your hands where it should go. Out and to the side. One more time. The left foot is insubstantial. It can go out and to the side. All right? But you must do it in one motion. Out and to the side brings me here. It brings me almost to another block or line, depending on how tall and how much length of your leg is, okay? So here's your T, and here's your L stance. It's an L stance because what did we do? We sort of created an L by going out and to the side. It's also an L because in a Tai Chi world, if you dragged it back, there's a gap and it looks like a L or capital L. Okay? T stance, rooting down because it's storing our energy. L stance, out and to the side. The energy's still on our right. We're going to let it flow through our system, turn the corner through our shoulder, and we're going to adjust the back foot to a 45 degrees. This is called a bow stance. It's obviously a bow and arrow. Do you have a bow in the front and an arrow in the back? Most likely. The arrow now should never be stiff and locked like a real arrow. Because why? Once you do that, the knee joint is now locked. The energy cannot flow through it. It's going to stagnate there. So it's a semi-relaxed, but not too relaxed where it's dipped down, where it's going to throw your Tai Chi posture off. So you could bring that foot up, that back leg, knee up. And another way to check that whether you're in good Tai Chi posture is that the knee never goes beyond the toe. So here, do it wrong. The knee goes beyond the toe in the front foot. What's happened? Your straight spine is now favoring the front, and you will fall because you don't have a center anymore. So bring that knee to meet the toe, and you're now straight up. Okay? This is called a bow stance, bow and arrow. Then the next thing is you're going to sit back. What happens when you sit back? Your right or back foot gains all the weight, and you're going to lift off on the front to make the front foot now weightless or insubstantial, so it can now move. It's on its heel. After you are in a bow stance with me, we're going to sit down and sit back. Sit down on an imaginary stool to create a twist step. How? Pivot on your left heel, so you're on a line or parallel to the line. You're now going to root down and obey gravity, and this foot now takes the what? Stem of the capital letter T. So Tai Chi is symmetrical, and we now have to do the other side. T stance, out and to the side. Remember, in one motion. Here we go. Right foot, out and to the side. Energy still on the left. We're going to make it gravitate and go through generate through our system. and create a bow stance. Bow and arrow, knee not beyond the toe, head straight up, okay? Sit back, sit down. You can put your hands at your waist. Twist step. Root down because the right is now substantial. The cap of the T, stem of the T with the left, T stance. Out and to the side, L. Turn the hips and waist, flatten the front, bow stance. Sit back, sit down on that imaginary stool. Twist step, on a line or parallel, creating that cap, T. Out and to the side, L. Turn the hips and waist, flatten down, move that energy, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot, root down or ground down, obey gravity, T stance, L stance, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot, root down, T, L, turn the hips and waist, bow stance, bow and arrow. Sit back, sit down, pivot, twist step, T stance, L stance, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance, L stance, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot or twist step, T stance, L stance, turn the hips and waist, move the energy, bow stance. Sit back, sit down on that imaginary stool, twist step, root down, T stance, L stance, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, twist step, T stance. Okay, so you get it, right? But you know, every time you think you get it, you do get it. But then there's always a little bit of tweaking and refining, and that goes for everybody, no matter how much experience you have. So that's what we refer to as our Tai Chi journey. You get it, but there's more to get, okay? It grows on us. And as we are working through our exercise and our movements, we're gaining strength. So Tai Chi benefits are still kicking in, and they'll get better over a period of time, not within a few minutes, okay? So, any questions on that so far? So now, okay, so the reason why, maybe some of you say, well, I can do a L stance and a bow stance without going out into the side, okay? So let me just kind of back up a little bit. I'll face you so you'll see what I mean. This is my T, rooted down. This cannot be my T because I have both feet weighted. The Tai Chi principle says only the weightless or the insubstantial can move, because that's how I can be safe. If we're walking and we're shuffling, there's more apt to a chance of falling than if we were to lift weightless foot, come down. Okay, but we never really think about it, but that's how we walk correctly, okay? All right, so getting back, T stance, out and to the side in one motion. Here's my L stance. What do I do with this? The L stance, remember I said the energy's in here. It has to grow through the system, turn my hips and waist, and this has to be a bow stance. If I did not do a correct L stance, this is how it would look. This is my T, this is my L, but you know right away that this is only out. It's not out to the side, right? What's going to happen? When I do my bow stance, I'm going to have a hard time, and I'm ruining the joint of my knee just because I don't have that swing or room to do that. So it's important to try to do it as correct as you can, and we'll be here to help you. And we know from many years of teaching that this is a hard one. But once you grasp it, your knees will be happy, you'll be doing good Tai Chi. Easy, okay? So just kind of reviewing what I just taught you. I'm going to face this way. T stance, L stance, energy here, turn the hips and waist, create a bow stance. Knee not beyond the toe. It's an arrow, but not tight like this, because once you lock your knee, you're not letting your internal energy flow. Bow stance. Next routine is to sit back and sit down. Note carefully that when I use the word sit back, it does not mean to throw that back, because you will go toppling, but you want to keep that backbone straight. You're just releasing the energy, putting it back on here to allow an insubstantial weightless that can twist or pivot on its heel. Then I said, remember now, we're going to do the other side. This foot now is the grounded foot. It has to be on a line or parallel to the line. It cannot go lazy and just do that, okay? So whatever we set up and applied the first time, we have to then apply to the second side, or the alternating side. T stance, out and to the side, L stance, turn the hips and waist, move that energy, bow stance. Sit back, sit down on that imaginary so that there's two things rolled into one. I sat back and I sit down. I sat back and I lowered myself. Why do I do that? Because then I'm obeying gravity and I have very little weight to make this foot twist, okay? So that's the premise in which all of Tai Chi is based on. But you're saying, yeah, why is she spending so much time on this? It's because it's so important. The shifting of weight, the building of stamina, the strengthening of your muscles, okay? Many questions? So we're going to now match what we learned on the bottom and put some top stuff together, okay? But once that happens, we know that it's more of a challenge. So sometimes when we're concentrating on the upper body, our lower portion kind of goes wacky, okay? But that's okay. But you know that, then you could break it apart and you study them separately, okay? So we're going to learn to part the wild horse's mane. In Tai Chi, the movements are fashioned after martial arts, definitely, martial arts based. And images that are out in nature, clouds, roosters, snakes, but this time it's a horse. We're going to learn to part his mane. When we part the wild horse's mane, we are going to, I'll do it in your orientation. You're to watch first, okay? We're in a T stance. We're going to hold our ball. The bottom hand always advances. That means that when we hold our ball, the bottom hand is the one that advances. It doesn't necessarily have to go forward. It can go up, okay? But it advances. It's like the action hand. But the other hand just doesn't go to sleep, remember? It counterbalances whatever the bottom hand does, or the forward hand, okay? So backing up, how do we hold a Tai Chi ball? When we hold our Tai Chi ball, we're asking ourselves to center ourselves. So anything that's center has to come into the middle of our body. So can you just make a ball and pretend that it's any old ball, but a round ball, of course, and you're holding a ball. So this is the natural way to hold a ball. Yeah, but you're saying it's natural for me to hold it like this, which is correct, but the ball has a certain size. The ball is chest level and 2 inches below your navel. So that's the Tai Chi ball, the size of a Tai Chi ball. We can spin or rotate the ball, but each time we do that, our hands and our fingers are rounded. They are not stiff to hold a block. That's why, same premise. We want the energy to flow to the tips of our finger and not just through our wrist, because our joints are so stiff, okay? So rounded ball, spin the ball, thinking about the top hand on the chest level, the bottom hand 2 inches below the navel. Watch how I do this, okay? Don't do it. So from the back of me, I'm holding my ball in the best way that I know. It's centering me. If I did not do it correctly, I would do it this way. What's wrong? What's wrong? What can you see in the back of me? Now compare it. This is correct. What don't you see? More than likely, if you're directly behind me, you don't see my elbows. But once I hold the ball too far away from me, you can see my elbows. So the correct way to hold the ball is to bring the ball to your center. Bring your ball to the center. Do it with me. Bring the ball to the center. No one now can see my elbows if you are directly behind me. So this is the way you hold your ball. Okay? Not bad, right? We'll get better because that ball is going to be very important because it centers you, okay? So 3 things. We come to Tai Chi because we want to relax, we want to stay calm, we want to have a sensation of peacefulness, and 2, because we want to learn to use our core and strengthen our core, because that's the stuff that's going to keep us strong and healthy. And the 3rd thing that we come to Tai Chi class is because we want to learn to center ourselves. So for physical movements, we want to be centered in the mind, and we want to stay centered rather than be on an extreme or not really sure of where we are thinking, okay, or how we're thinking. So in holding a ball, that refers to centering. We also learn through my presentation that the bottom hand advances. The bottom hand advances. Can you do what I'm doing? Holding your ball, the bottom hand advances. The top hand takes the top of the ball, the bottom hand advances. That top hand takes the top of the ball, bring it in, the bottom hand advances. The top hand becomes the top of the ball, bring it in, down 2 inches, chest to a chest level, the bottom hand advances. Hey, not so bad. What does that other hand do? The bottom hand advances. The other hand doesn't go to sleep. It holds another ball to the side of your hip. Can you do that? The side of the hip holds a ball. The side of the hip holds another ball while the bottom hand advances. Okay, let's do that now, okay? Holding your ball anyway, okay? Right hand on the top, left hand on top, doesn't matter. Holding your ball, top hand at chest level, bottom hand 2 inches below your navel. We said that the bottom hand advances. So the bottom hand comes out and the top hand comes to your side as if it were holding another ball on the top. The top hand comes closer to your center, we create another ball. The bottom hand advances, and the other hand sits to the side. The top hand covers the ball. The bottom hand advances. Okay? I'm going to do it this way now, okay? Holding your ball. The bottom hand advances. Top hand holds the top of the ball. Bottom hand advances, the other one sits to the side as if it were holding another ball. The top hand takes care of the top of the ball, hold your ball. The bottom hand advances while the top hand sits to the side as if it were holding another ball. The top hand, advanced hand comes to the top, hold your ball, chest 2 inches below your navel. Bottom hand advances, the other one sits to the side. One more. Holding your ball. Top hand sits to the side, bottom hand advances, okay? So that's another little thing that you have to remember. And eventually it'll become really natural, okay? Really natural, because you're training your mind, training your body that this is Tai Chi. You'll also, if you did it 100 times or even 50 times or even 25 times, and you use your good Tai Chi posture by dropping your shoulders, you will be feeling on top of the world because you are relaxed and you're concentrating only on what you're doing. So those are the side benefits of good Tai Chi. Now we're going to put the upper body that we learned to what we had learned earlier to the bottom, okay? So let's warm it up. Good Tai Chi posture, and we're gonna create a T stance, okay? The left hand, like the left foot, is the advancing, so the left has to be on the bottom and the right has to be on the top. Got it? We're on a T stance. We have energy stored on our right. We want to make sure that it can come out into an L and then a bow stance. How shall we do it? First, we've got to think. First, we've got to execute, but we've got to do it slowly. So holding your ball, right hand on the top, left hand on the bottom, left foot ready to go, left hand ready to go because it's the bottom hand. T stance. We're going to come out and to the side with our left foot, out and to a side on an L stance. And the bottom hand is going to advance. See if you can do that. All. T stance, out and to the side, bottom hand advances to part the wild horse's mane. Bow stance. Sit back, sit down, twist step, root down. We need to center. How? T stance, holding our Tai Chi ball, bring it in. Your right foot is weightless. Your right hand is on the bottom. That is correct. We are in a T stance. We want to get to a L stance in one motion. Out and to the side. Turn our hips and waist. Bottom hand advances. Go up the horse's mane. Bow stance. Sit back, sit down. Pivot. Root down for that cap of the T. Hold your ball for better balance. L stance. Out and to the side. Bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Here it is. Sit back, sit down. Pivot the heel of the left. Root down. Create your T, holding your ball for better balance. We want to come out and to the side on an L stance. Here we go. Come out and to the side. Bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Sit back, sit down. Pivot, root down or firm down. Create your center with a ball on a T. Out and to the side, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, pivot, root down, center with a ball on a T. Out and to the side, bottom hand advances to go up the horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, pivot, hold your ball on a T stance. Okay? Wasn't too bad, right? It's kind of fun, like, how can your body do that? But it can. You just have to think it through, see it visually, mentally, and teach your body how to do it. So why do we want to teach our body how to do something different? Is it because we don't know? Or there's no connection between our mind and our body? But what we want to do is we want to make that connection even stronger so that if we're in a challenging position or situation, the mind and body can act together and help us. So that's why we learn the discipline of Tai Chi, so those kinds of benefits can happen as we lose touch with stuff that we once learned while we were younger, okay? So that in a nutshell is the importance of the benefits of Tai Chi. So you found that it's fun, but it is work, it is difficult. So what are you going to do about it? You just let it slide? No, you're going to sit on it. You're going to be proactive, and you're going to do something. You're going to watch the online lesson. You're going to hear that voice and internalize what the key words are. You're going to set up patterns, T stance, L stance, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, twist step, and keep that active in your mind. So, yes, maybe some of you after 45 minutes have created some calmness because you're only concentrating on Tai Chi and forgot about all the other stuff outside. 2, we learn to use our core perhaps, in that when we parted the horse's mane, we didn't just swing our hands out. But what we did try to do, which I didn't really remind you, is that we incorporated our core. Our core initiates our movements. If we did not, our core would be going to sleep, because all it is a pretty dance that emphasizes only hand motions, which is not Tai Chi. So we come with calmness, we leave with calmness. We strengthen our core so that every movement that we learn, we say, is our core being that powerful part of our body that's generating our motion? And 3, did we center ourselves, both in mind and in body? And those are the 3 takeaways that are very important when you come into class, in class, and when you are out of class, okay?